Hi, I want to talk about the Lionel heavyweight passenger train sets. This particular one is from the Crescent Limited. This happens to be the observation car, but it applies, what I'm going to show you, applies equally well to the sleepers and the RPO. And you can identify these heavyweights. For one thing, it says so on the bottom. But the big thing is that there's this electrical switch, right here, that turns the lights on and off on the inside. And it's the lights that's the subject of today's discussion. Just by comparison, here's your Polar Express, and these are very lightweight in comparison to this. And as you probably know, these come apart by snapping the roof off, and it's just actually held in place by tabs. You squeeze, you do a little prying with screwdrivers and one thing and another, but eventually you can pop the top. And then you can get to the lighting, which is in the top, and a lot of us have replaced the lights in here with LED strips and added capacitors to the circuit because they're notorious for blinking all the time. That's not so much the case with these. These have very nice incandescent bulbs, and the light is really nice. I love the glow that you get, and I really don't want to change it over to LED, but I have a burned out bulb in one of them, not this one, but one of the sleepers. There's 6 bulbs in here. One of them's burned out, and I want to replace it. So I want to show you how to open this thing up, and while we're at it, I'll point out to you how to remove the trucks, because it's easy if you need to do it, and you'll see how to remove and replace or exchange a truck if you need to do that for some reason. Plus, I guess anything else. Oh yeah, there was a loose piece on the inside of mine rattling around, and I want to glue it back. So I'll show you how you can do that. And at the same time, if you wanted to add a few more figures, you could do that. So here we go. All right, let's see if we can disassemble this this passenger car. I'm going to start with this cover plate in the middle, and it's held in with 2 screws, and that's about it for those. Now, one end of it, this end down here, is hinged, so you lift it up all the way and it'll lift out. So you got these little hook ears on it. Those fit down into this tab right there. And there is no tab on that end, so you can't get it wrong. And the reason it's keyed is because of this hole right here fits over this switch right here. So we can set that aside. Now, what we're going to do is remove this entire plate in one fell swoop, which will include the trucks and all their wiring. And this is held in place with 1, 2, 3, 4 screws at each end, and a hold-down tab right here, and a little tiny screw right here, which barely makes contact. So let's go ahead and pull those out. All right, now all of those screws are loose. Take our magnet and get them out. Okay, and now at this point, this entire assembly will come out, and if you want to remove your trucks, this is how you do it. You remove this little C-clip or E-clip right here, and then the truck just falls right out, complete, intact. Now, it's wired, and the wires are soldered to the truck, to the contact roller, and also to the frame for the wheels. And the other end is soldered to this circuit board, which is for the switch for the on and off of the lights and so forth. But we're not concerned with that right now. Now the next thing we want to do is get the main interior of the car out. As you can see, this plastic part is blocked by these two tabs where the screws were that held it in place. The way you have to get this out is this will move back. This part right here, this end section will move back, but not enough. So the key to it is down inside this hole, there's a screw. Let me show you a better view of it. All right, now if I can do this blind, there's the screw. There we go. Now the key is to back it off, but do not take it out completely. And then what will happen is with it that loose, that will come back, and then we'll do the same thing on the other end, and we'll be able to get this out. Once you get it past the tabs on each end, it's a matter of just jiggling until it comes out. And the thing you have to look out for is on one end, there are wires that will be going up into the light circuit. Bring that around to the outside like that, and then you can flip it over. And this is also a really good time, like in the case of mine, one of the pieces inside had come loose, and it would appear to be a cabinet of some sort that sits right here. So now's a good time to glue that back in, and I'll also repair or replace one or two of the lights. I don't know how many have gone out, but a couple of them have anyway, and so this will be a good time to replace those. Also, the light circuit board, you can notice here, has kind of come haywire. It should be lying down against these foam pieces, but in fact it's not. So we'll try to sort that out and get that straightened back up. But at any rate, once you get inside, here's the chance to do some super duper house cleaning. Maybe even glue somebody to the toilet. Sounds like high school, doesn't it? All right, this is a circuit board I was referring to, and I'll show you how you can get these out, maybe. Let's try a small screwdriver. There we go. A little wedging action going. And then we'll take our pliers. Now we've got a hold of the lead, and there we go. And it pushes right out. And kind of mangled up the little leads a little bit, but they'll straighten out and be okay. Now I'll test this one. We should have a small amount of resistance across this, but basically it should be open. There we go. So that, not open, but I mean a closed circuit. Let's try this again. These are really hard to hang on to. There it went. All right, yeah. Well, the point is you're going to get something, and that bulb is good. On the other hand, the first bulb that I took out, the one I suspected as being bad, is in fact bad. See, there's nothing happening there. I can touch that. And I tried it every way but Sunday, and nothing. So this one's bad, even though looking at it through a magnifier showed all the little filaments to be intact, or at least appear to be, but it's dead. D-E-D. The key to getting these back in is to, I'm sorry, this is, I don't know if there's any way I can do this and show you at the same time, but you push with your finger and you guide with the pliers, and trust me, if there's not a camera in the way, it's a lot easier. But yeah, that's not quite in there as far as I would like for it to be, but it's pretty close. And if I hold that and push with my finger, there we go, yeah. And then it's just talking about a millimeter or two at a time. Well, we'll find out. That should work. Obviously, if you're going to replace a burned out light bulb, you have to have a replacement light bulb. And Lionel has a part number for the bulbs that go in these heavyweight passenger cars. And more importantly, well, there are two things to know. One, they were not in stock. And I don't know if they will be. Apparently, looking at some forums on the internet, they've been out of stock for a long time. So we got to find a substitute. What's good is that Lionel did publish a spec on the bulb. It's 18 volt AC. Well, we know that. But the current draw on it is 80 milliamps. And that tells us what the wattage of the bulb is, what the output of the bulb would be. Well, when you get online, your luck may be better than mine, but I could not find the exact bulb. That is to say, the little glass peanut tube that looks like the Christmas tree lights with the two legs in an 18 volt 80 milliamp. But what I did find was 18 volts and 40 milliamps, which means it draws half the current and therefore it will have half the light output. Can you substitute it in there? Sure you can. It would just be like replacing a 75 watt light bulb with a 40 watt light bulb, I mean, almost. And you can do that, but you get less light output. Let's think of this. Let's say you had a chandelier over your dining room table, or at least a fancy light with several bulbs in it. And let's just say they were all 75 watt light bulbs. If one burns out, you can replace that burned out one with a 40 watt light bulb, and it'll work fine. The others will still be just like they were, and this one will be like it was. And that's exactly what's going to happen in here. On the other hand, if I use two together, in theory, they'll put out the same amount of light. We're going to find out if that's true or not. I got the bulb from Bulbs R Us. No, it's not. It's called Bulb Town, and they're in Jacksonville, Florida. Internet presence. And also interesting to note that 10 of them with shipping cost $11 and some cents, let's say 50 cents. Well, that comes out to $1.15 each. The price from Lionel for one bulb is $1.50, and then you'd have to pay shipping on top of that. So it's a pretty good deal. It would be even better if I could find the exact replacement bulb, but that's okay. I bought 10 of them, and now I can lose some, burn some out, mess up some, break them, whatever, and maybe 10 will be enough to get the project done. In order to test the lights, we need an 18 volt AC power supply. And the handiest one I have is an MTH Rail King transformer and controller. And you just plug it into the AC over here. And you see it lights up. And then I've got the voltmeter. I've got a couple of alligator clips back here on the back, and then coming out to here to the meter. And so when I bring it up, we go forward up to 17.9, which is close enough to 18 that'll be just fine. So that's going to be our power supply for the lights to test them out. All right, to put our new bulb in, what you don't want to do is grasp it way off from the end, because when you try to push it in, it's going to buckle the legs. What you want to do is grasp it. Yep, right down there at the end. So there's very little of it unsupported. And then probably take your finger, kind of hold it so it doesn't come out. Go to the other side, grasp it just close to the socket and slide it in like that. And that's it. All right, for testing the lights, I've got the hot red hooked up to the contact roller, actually to the frame of the contact roller, and then the black, which I'm using a white wire, but that's all right, ground side to the wheel. And so when we turn it up, ta-da, there go our lights. Let's see, if you turn it down a little bit, you can see that our new light here in the number 3 position is not as bright as the other. When they come all the way up, it's hard to see it, but when they're down kind of low, you can see it doesn't. So what we're going to have to do is add a second light to that to make up the difference, because it's half of the amperage, ergo wattage, ergo light output, blah blah blah. So let's do that. In order to put 2 of these bulbs together, we're going to have to solder them. And so we have some rosin core solder, electrical solder. This is very small diameter too, by the way. It works wonderfully well. Soldering iron with a wet sponge and our holder over here. A tub of rosin paste flux. And we'll use that. That really, it's not necessary, but it really helps things out. And last of all is this third hand device, which has these little gator clips on swing arms that you can just manipulate in just about any way you want to. And I'll get you real close up here in a minute, but that have the 2 bulbs in place there. And what I want to do first is take a dab of this rosin and put it up there on the joint. And but let's move in close. All right, we got a good best seat in the house. Best house in the seat. And I'm going to put this on there. You don't need very much. You don't need that much. About half of that. And to be honest, most of the time I take the object itself and just stick it down in there. You can see where I've been sticking things down in there over a period of time. And this is about, maybe 1,000,000 times more than you need, but it won't hurt. And that's going to be hard for me to get any less than that on there. And now you'll notice all I did was just have one set of legs straddling the other with solder them together. And it really doesn't matter. This being an AC light bulb, both legs are equally good for either application. And we want to take some solder and touch it to the tip of our iron. Oops, bounce the camera around. See, we've got us a nice hot, let's see, the camera is right where I need to be. You knew that would happen, didn't you? So let's see, and see that flux instantly melts. And that's one of them. And let's see if I can get the other one from the back side here. See what I'm doing. And there's the other one. It takes so very little to hold those things in place. You can see they're just stuck. That's all there is to it. And let's see, let's open up our clip. And yeah, you can see there it's nicely secured. And so now we have a couple of legs that are be just right. Let's see, can I see what I'm doing Yeah, you got a couple of legs that are just perfect now to go into the socket. And we'll lay this top bulb back onto the other one so they'll be sort of stacked up. So let's put those in. Ah, just did it with my fingers. How about them apple? All right, we got our voltage hooked up here, our 18 volts. Bring it up, look at that, both bulbs are working. And the combined output of light from the two should be equal to one of these. They're definitely dimmer, but the two of them together, well, individually they're still dimmer, there's no question, but we'll see how it looks when we put it together. All right, putting it back together was just the exact opposite of taking it apart, and you really don't need any instruction on it. There were no surprises. There's nothing tricky you have to know about. And here's our passenger car, our heavyweight. Turn on the power, Jennifer, and let's show them. There we go, we got the lights. Now you notice that it's dark right here, but every one of them is that way. The new bulb is at this window, right here. The middle section doesn't have any bulbs, as you will recall from watching it. And well, just to refresh your memory, look, see what I'm talking about? There are no bulbs right there in the middle. So the middle is dark, and that's true for all the cars, the sleepers and the observation car. But our bulbs look good, and I think brightness wise, like I said, here's where the new bulbs are, the two. I think they look pretty much the same as the rest. They do to me anyway. Thanks for watching. Toot toot.